Hi everyone, we're about to release our podcast on Triple H versus Scott Steiner at Royal Rumble 2003. And between when we recorded the podcast and now, Scott Hall has unfortunately passed. We do talk about him a bit in our podcast on Scott Steiner, and maybe not always in the most glowing terms, but just to say that Scott Hall was absolutely pivotal in the Monday Night Wars, which is probably the most important era in wrestling history. And just to say, an amazing wrestler, and we're obviously extremely sad that he's passed.
Yeah, definitely. We just obviously wanted to record this bit because we did speak about obviously his involvement in the Clique, and the Clique as a rule gets spoke of in not a very good light, do they? But he, as a character, Razor Ramon, has one of the most influential moments in wrestling ever, where he pops up on Nitro and, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. And as a wrestler, as a performer, I have really nothing bad to say about him. Rest in peace.
He'll be sadly missed.
Of course he will. Yeah, definitely. And anyone who knows him on a personal level has really got nothing bad to say about him. You never hear anyone's got a bad word to say about him as a person, do you? So, yeah, we just don't want it to be taken in bad taste, what we said.
One of the greats, and rest in peace. And all the best to all his family and all those people who are going to miss him greatly.
The Bad Boss Leader's here! Champion Angel!
He's also suffering from anal bleeding. What?
Is this match still going on? The dog poop! All right, one and a dog poop! Mercifully, it's over.
Hello and welcome to the Crap Wrestling Podcast, the podcast all about crap wrestling, which is also a crap podcast about wrestling. I'm one of your hosts, Matt Burgess, and I'm joined by the only penguin I know that is in my house right now, I think. It's Weston Hughes. How are you, Weston?
I'm good, thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all.
I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is a big match for you, isn't it?
I love this match. I hate it, but yeah. I've been going on about this for ages. I actually made you watch it a little while ago, didn't I, for the first time?
Yeah. Before we get into that, though, we've actually got an extra guest on today's podcast. Weston's house currently has no electricity, and I wouldn't like to say that's the only reason why she wanted to join us on the podcast. However, we do have Weston's partner here.
Hello.
Yasmin.
Hi guys.
She's wishing I topped up the electricity card.
So Yasmin, you're quite a recent, maybe sort of a semi-fan of wrestling. Yeah. If it's on in the house, you're not disappointed, but you wouldn't necessarily go out your way to put it on yourself. No.
So how regularly are you forced to watch it, would you say?
Every single day. Either in the car, little snippets, whatever he's listening to at the time, or when we're laying in bed overnight.
Yeah, I don't watch my phone while I'm driving, just put it out there. I listen to podcasts.
You listen to a
stuff,
podcast.
Yes, about wrestling, and then I watch it every single night while I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
None as good as this one, I'm absolutely sure of it.
I find the screaming very annoying when I'm trying to sleep.
There is a lot of screaming in wrestling.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird noises made in the ring.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of either Kane's or Undertaker's when they're
they do a lot of grunting, don't they? She means like the commentators and that. If you watch like old wrestling, like JR screams all the time, and also I watch a lot of Japanese wrestling as well. It's just inaudible, like Japanese screaming as well, which, the crowd noise and that.
Okay, great. So we're going to move on to any wrestling content we've been watching this week. Anything crap from you this week, Weston?
No, I've been watching Wrestle Kingdom, and obviously where it's over 3 days, and I've been watching it while I go to sleep. I'm sort of getting through it, and there's some matches on there which aren't great, but as a whole, it's a very good show, so I'd recommend it. But yeah.
One of my friends asked me what the worst wrestling match I'd ever watched was, because I was talking to them about the podcast, and I told them Hornswoggle versus the American Eagle, and it is the weirdest thing you've ever seen, man.
Have you heard of this, Yes?
No.
Hornswoggle is a...
leprechaun.
He's a leprechaun, so he's actually an Irishman with dwarfism, and he was a WWE wrestler for probably about 5 years, wasn't he?
Maybe even longer than that, man.
So he was on the main roster wrestling for WWE for about 5 years. His man, they said, was a leprechaun, but he was actually a dwarf. And he wrestled a man in a giant bird outfit.
Yeah.
Toad loves this match.
I don't know if you've ever seen much Looney Tunes, but you know they have like that Acme whenever in like Coyote versus the Roadrunner or whatever it is, and he'd have all his like Acme weapons and whatever.
Yeah, whatever they have made by Acme. Innit?
Yeah, he's just got this big bag that says Acme birdseed on it, and he like starts putting it on around the ring, and the bird starts eating it off the floor, and he uses it as like a distraction to then like go and kick his head in, basically. It's fucking dire, man. Honestly, like people moan about the main roster now. I remember hearing someone at a recent wrestling show I went to say, and the main roster is the worst it's ever been. And I was like, you don't know shit, man. You clearly haven't been watching wrestling long enough if you think this is the worst the main roster has ever been. It's not great. It's not in the best place.
Yeah,
it's definitely not in the worst.
Mate, 1995. There was a fucking wrestling dentist, a wrestling ice hockey player, and a fucking Shane the Dean Douglas, mate. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. It can't be anywhere near the worst it's ever been, I wouldn't have thought. Talent-wise, it's fucking good.
There's still some good matches in it as well. Like, most of the pay-per-view matches are really good. There's still too many disqualifications, but I don't think that's ever going to change. It's just one of them things that you've kind of got to cope with the main roster at the moment, I guess.
I think if you went throughout each era, there would be people moaning in that era that it is the worst it's ever been. It's just one of them things. Just like as it goes through, it'd be like, oh, this is the worst era ever. No, this is the worst era ever. It's just, you're always going to get people moaning about it no matter what.
And I think you've got the bias now as well that AEW is obviously on a good streak. It's a good wrestling show. And because that's there, people have started to take it up as if it's like anyone who's involved in football Twitter at all, or if they talk to their mates about football, you know that they'll say, blah blah player on the opposite team to the one that I support is absolutely shit. But if they support that player, the player that's on their team, then he's the best player ever. It's just complete bias that they think that AEW is perfect because that's who they're supporting at the moment, and WWE is shit. When if the other brand did exactly the same thing, they would say, oh no, that was just, it's a one-off. It's, they would start trying to back it or whatever. So there's a lot of biases involved in the hatred.
Yeah, the fact that there's a second choice now that's producing good content as well, it creates almost a team mentality, doesn't it? A rivalry mentality. So if you like AEW, you can't admit that you like WWE or whatever. Although I think they're both much for muchness, to be honest, and I think they're both as shit as each other. To be I love wrestling. I won't say that, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I won't pick anyone over the other one, to be honest.
Yeah, they've got good bits and they've got bad bits about each one. So moving on to the good wrestling. What good wrestling have you watched?
Yeah, as I say, mate, we've been watching Wrestle Kingdom. Yaz has been trying to sleep while I'm sitting there at 3 a.m. and watching Wrestle Kingdom. There's a lot of good on there, mate. Will Ospreay's really, really good on there. Oh, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Is it called a Rondo or a Rumbo or something?
Yeah, you said something.
It's like a 19-man battle royale, but you're allowed to pin the... Oh, that is fucking brilliant. There's a 6-man tag match that is Bullet Club, and it's really, really good. Mate, I don't remember a lot of their names off the top of my head. I'm going to sit here and say I know what I'm talking about when I really don't. But honestly, it's so worth watching. It's really, really good, and I'd recommend it to anyone. Where I've only just started watching it religiously, obviously you don't remember a lot of people's names at first. It takes you a while to actually know who you're watching. Definitely. And it is difficult when they're all Japanese names as well.
And Yasmin, since you don't obviously watch wrestling every week, or you do, and you're not necessarily so into it, I just wondered if you have a favourite wrestling match that you've watched.
I'm quite a fan of any wrestling that they do in the cage.
Hell in the
Cell. Any ones where they set the table on fire and throw each other onto it.
So you like hardcore wrestling?
Yeah.
Death
wow.
matches.
And where they get on the cage and they try and throw him off or something.
It's Mankind versus The Undertaker that we watched where he got thrown off the cage, yeah.
And where the Undertaker comes back to life.
Oh man, so you're a storyline wrestler.
Yeah.
Have I showed you where he actually got buried alive?
The YouTube video where he goes dum.
Where he sits up out the coffin. Have I showed you where he actually got buried alive?
I don't think so.
No, I'll show you that later on. No, you'll like that. now you're one of the crap wrestling team. You're going to have to watch and actually pay attention to that.
And I guess the good wrestling I've watched this week, as I've sort of been drifting off, I've watched a couple of Rumbles. Obviously we've got Royal Rumble coming up on, I think it's on the 29th this year, but it's at the end of January. So I watched Royal Rumble 2011 and 2007. 2007 was won by The Undertaker, first time he ever won it. It was alright. And then I see Yasmin nodding there.
The Undertaker.
Massive fan of The Undertaker.
Of course he did, Undertaker.
Brilliant. Yeah, knows The Undertaker's history. And then in 2011, which Alberto Del Rio won, which I was really shocked by but
He was good though, wasn't he?
apparently that wasn't that shocking at the time. But I don't know. I don't remember him being any good ever.
He was good.
Yeah, not bad. I didn't think he was bad, but I didn't think he was big enough to win a Rumble.
I think he was just a fucking bit of a prick. But he was actually like, he's everywhere he goes, he gets bad reputation for being an absolute arsehole.
Yeah.
He's like fucking arsehole behind the scenes. I think he's been sacked from pretty much everywhere, isn't he? He gets sacked by TNA.
Fucking hell, you must be an absolute
How much of a
bastard.
cunt have you got to be to get sacked by TNA? Which is ridiculous. But he was actually a really good worker. He's an MMA fighter as well. Did you know that?
Didn't know that.
Certified hard geezer. Didn't he get sacked for sexually harassing someone, making comments?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends where you work if you're going to get sacked for being for sexually harassing someone, because the amount of people in like NXT UK or WWE who sexually harass people, and it was basically like, is there definite evidence that it was absolutely inadmissible that you did it? Yes. Okay, well, you're going to have to be sacked. No, or then you'll be absolutely fine. There could be 50 accusations, but if there's not like video evidence or them admitting it on Twitter or something, then they didn't sack him. It's absolutely outrageous.
To be honest, like Vince is the head of the company and he's got a bit of a record himself, hasn't he? So
He absolutely does. He stalked a salon worker or a masseuse or something.
yeah, it was
didn't
a
he?
salon worker. Didn't he go try and book into the suntan machine and then like showed her his dick or something like that?
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, mate, you've got to think about some of the stuff that he's put on TV. Didn't he try doing an angle that he had a baby with Stephanie, his daughter?
Yes, he did.
That's one of the things, and he used to tell her to get her boobs out more and stuff on camera, didn't he? So like, this is the bloke who owns the WWE, by the way.
Right, okay.
Yeah. That's him. He's just the weirdest geezer. We could do a crap wrestling show
We
just
watched
on
it.
his bizarre life.
Watched the video about him the
That
other
would be
day.
a hit.
It's the bloke who hates sneezing.
Oh, yeah. I
It's
remember
the
you
bloke who hates sneezing.
What does he say?
Control yourself! Control yourself! Or something like that. Oh, what was the other year I was going to tell you about a storyline that he did? He drugged his wife, didn't he? So she was in a wheelchair, comatose.
Yeah.
And then he had an affair with one of the women wrestlers in front of his wife while she was in the wheelchair. So they'd like push her in the wheelchair and then he'd like start snogging this other woman and be like, yeah, this is because you're a bitch. Like, while she's sitting there in the wheelchair. And then his daughter ended up having a fight with Trish Stratus, who was the woman who he was having an affair with.
Right,
in front
okay.
of the wheelchair.
He used to make her bark like a dog and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made her kiss his arse in the ring in front of all the people on TV. It's called the Kiss My Arse Club. He used to just get his bum out and make people kiss his arse when they get the sack.
Well, so today's match is Triple H versus Scott Steiner at Royal Rumble 2003. I'm going to say that again.
2003.
Okay, I had a bit of Scott Steiner's about it then. Fuck, you know. Might have to leave that in, actually, you know.
2003.
2003. I was doing a Hornswoggle impression. So today's match is Triple H versus Scott Steiner at Royal Rumble 2003 Western. Why is this being brought to the Crack Wrestling Chamber?
The Wrestling Observer newsletter rated this as the worst wrestling match of 2003. And I know Dave Meltzer is biased against WWE, but that's a pretty bad rating, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Do you think it's that bad? Because we've had this discussion before.
I do think it's fucking terrible.
Do you?
And reasons why I think it is so bad is Scott Steiner's so unfit that he looks like he's going to literally keel over from exhaustion after about 5 minutes.
There is a bit where he does actually keel over from exhaustion.
Yeah, I'm really not, I haven't watched it for about 6 months, but I'm really not surprised that he does. And, you know, he's just so fucked, isn't he? He literally can't move at the time. And I don't even think that's specifically his fault because he was injured going into it, but mismanagement and inactivity.
The worst bit about this match for me is just the lack of connectivity between spots. It just doesn't add up. We speak about this so often, I feel like is it a spot and then another spot and then another spot, or is it connected so well that you don't really see the seams between the various parts of the match, whereas this is just like the bit and then the next bit and the next bit, and it kind of looks like they're just finding the next place to get to the next bit, and every single bit is a fucking belly to belly overhead suplex, and it really is really frustrating when you've watched it so many times. It feels like the only move you can do. On the other hand, he does do some suplexes. You do get a few moves that look half decent. You get a superplex, you get other bits and bobs. I don't know, towards the end of the match you start to feel really awkward, and there's nothing worse than watching something and feeling like, oh, I'm really looking forward to this getting off my screen.
Yeah, it's just horrible. They just have no chemistry at all. Which I think I watched an interview before, and they said that Triple H is rumoured to have sabotaged this match on purpose. Because this is during the Reign of Terror, and he didn't want Scott Steiner getting over and potentially taking the title off him. So he apparently purposely sabotaged the match to make Scott Steiner look really, really fucking bad. Made it so difficult to have a good match against him. Because I think they had a series of matches, didn't they? Like
they had
2 or 3.
They had another one at No Way Out after this.
Yeah, I knew it was No Way Out. I didn't know, but apparently that was literally just as bad, but not as well known for being as bad. But yeah, it's just horrible. If not, they've got no chemistry. As you say, it doesn't fit together at all. It doesn't look like two blokes having a fight. It doesn't suspend your disbelief at all. It just looks like one bloke grabbing another. It's horrible.
Yeah. And you were saying that they hate each other anyway.
Yeah, they don't like each other, but I don't know if they don't like each other because of this.
Oh, right, okay.
Or because they probably wouldn't have crossed paths very often before, would they? I wouldn't have thought.
I wonder if it just might have been like a build-up, because there's some really funny stuff of like when D-Generation X, and I'm pretty sure that apart from being they wanted to push the Attitude Era for what it was, but they were almost like the anti-WCW team throughout like 97, 98, and Triple H is always slagging off WCW on TV. They never do things like that anymore. Like WWE would never like slag off AEW. They kind of just pretend the competition doesn't exist.
Yeah, they don't mention them, do they?
Exactly. But then they were like, fuck WCW, you know, WCW is shit and all that sort of thing, and they would have Gilbert and all that rubbish. And there's this so bad piece. It's Triple H, right? And he is in a fucking fighter jet. Have you not seen this?
I've seen them go where they go to where they're filming WCW on the fucking stupid tank thing. I've seen that.
Yeah. It's like that.
Yeah.
But
it's in a fighter jet.
He's in a fucking fighter jet, man. Yeah, so he's in the jet and he's going, "It's me, Triple H, and I'm in the cockpit." He flies this fucking jet.
Is he actually flying it?
No, it's fucking not. Well, it makes it look.
Pretending
Yeah. It's obviously like, I don't know, green screened or something, I don't know. And he does the skywriting and it says WCW sucks or something.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to believe that Triple H,
He's actually
a wrestler, has learned how to fly just so he can write WCW sucks in the sky. But I just thought it's so funny. I'm in the cockpit. So funny. I'm going to have to show it at some point.
Yeah, I do want to see that now. Yeah, has he ever buried Scott Steiner at all publicly? Has he ever spoke shit about him or anything?
I don't know, but I wonder if he thinks he's such a big deal that he doesn't have to do that sort of thing. Like he's like, he's not even worth mentioning.
Yeah, I think maybe behind the scenes he might have buried him and like probably a bit of a prick to him when he first come to WWF. I don't know. I'm sure there's more to it, but yeah, they don't like each other at all.
Yeah, Triple H's kind of known for that stuff, isn't he? For doing that stuff behind the scenes, maybe not being public about being a dickhead, but actually in private years. Like, for example, there's the China stuff where he basically went behind her back and was sleeping with Stephanie before they broke up. And they kind of tried to push the idea that actually they were broken up already, but it's very well known that that's not actually the case. He's just a self-indulgent guy. He was apparently always doing like the bidding for the clique when, I can never say that word properly, the clique, when they were doing all of their, what's that word you love, West? Politicking.
Yeah.
When they were doing all their politicking, Triple H was apparently doing a lot of their bidding behind the scenes and just basically being a little bumlick.
Yeah, he was actually like a little prick as well when he was there. Like they brought him in because he didn't do drugs and drink, so he could drive them home after they'd been getting on it and stuff. So, but yeah, I can imagine he was fucking right involved in it. He seems like a bit of a slimy fucking arsehole, doesn't he? But
yeah.
In his old age, I think he's quite cool, but back then he just seemed like such a. And I know he was playing like a serious heel and he made you hate him, but it felt like it was just an exaggeration of how he actually was.
Yeah, pretty much. So if we go into the two wrestlers, we've got Scott Steiner and obviously Triple H. So Yasmin, I'm going to give you the honours because we've just watched some Scott Steiner promos and stuff. Tell us what you think about Scott Steiner.
He's a raging lunatic.
What makes you think that?
He shouts a lot and slurs his words, can't really speak properly.
I don't think
very raging.
I don't think you're alone in thinking he's a lunatic, to be honest.
Do you have a particular a favourite thing that he said that you can remember?
The maths equation.
The maths equation. Yeah. That's probably Steiner's most famous bit. And Weston, I think, is one of your favourite wrestling moments of all time, isn't it?
I absolutely love it. And I genuinely watch just that YouTube video of him doing that maths equation probably 3 times a week, and that's not an exaggeration, and I have done for the last 4 years or so. I love it so much.
You know, they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Small Joe, and you can see that statement is not true. See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. So you got a 25% at best at beating me. And then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, your chances of winning drastically go down. See, the 3-way at sacrifice, you got a 33 1/3 chance of winning. But I got a 66 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me, and he's not even going to try. So, Samoa Joe, you take your 33 1/3 chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 1/3 chance of winning at sacrifice. But then you take my 75% chance of winning, if we used to go one-on-one, and then add 66 2/3%, I got 141 2/3 chance of winning at sacrifice. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at sacrifice.
The Mafia one's great too.
Oh, the Mafia one, yeah. There's only one effing Mafia. We'll shove the other one, but the sun don't shine. Oh, he is absolutely brilliant, and he is comedy gold.
Yeah.
He is, honestly, I love Scott Steiner. He's one of them people that, as a character, I just think he's fucking brilliant, and I wish one of the big companies would just have him doing on air segments and stuff. Even as a commentator, or like an interviewer or anything. Just why is he not on TV shouting and screaming?
Maybe just the risk attached.
Yeah,
I think it is. I mean, he couldn't go on WWE, not in the PG era. He's quite outspoken about how he was disappointed that TNA fell apart because basically they hired Hogan and Bischoff as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But apparently he was really happy with how things were going. When you had AJ Styles there, who was the other one? Sorry,
Vince Russo.
Oh, Russo, yeah. They had AJ Styles there. They had Samoa Joe. They had some really, really good talent there that was really coming through and progressing.
Kurt Angle was there.
Kurt Angle was there too. And then, of course, Bischoff, Hogan, Russo come in and basically just tore it down. They lost the 6-sided ring, which is what made it really unique. And I remember I used to really like that. I'd kind of gone off wrestling a bit, but I remember I used to come in from school. And for some reason, I think it was TNT that was like next to Nickelodeon. It was like fucking, I don't know, 599, and this was 604 on Sky or whatever.
Is it a music channel?
Nah.
Am I going the other way on Sky? It was just...
Yeah, that was like 640 or something.
Yeah, I'm going the wrong way on the Sky menu in my head, I think.
But either way, it was TNA, and I'd just click onto it whenever the adverts were on or whatever. And I got really into it, just watching this wrestling. I didn't really know anything about it, didn't really know anything about the wrestlers or who was in it. I knew a few people from, ex-WWE guys, but yeah, I used to really enjoy just watching the old bit of TNA and the old Hexagon.
They had quite a stacked roster. When you look at it, like, I know a lot of the guys were sort of past their prime, but still they were big names and they could work. It was on Channel 5 for a little while, because I went through a little spell of watching it as well. It would be on Channel 5 at like late, not like ridiculously late, but like 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday or something like that. And I always used to find myself watching it when I was in bed, and I think, I thought it was quite good as well.
So Steiner, I mean, I've read a bit of a biographical bit just because I noticed that he comes into contact with quite a lot of crap wrestling alumni, and I thought it would be useful to just talk about that, and then just also just talk back about them for a few minutes. But basically, Steiner started his career in Indianapolis, where he was in WWA, which I don't really know much about, but he won the World Heavyweight title there, moved on to Memphis into the Continental Wrestling Association, and won the Tag Championships a couple of times there. He then went to WCW, where he was part of the Steiner brothers, who are known as one of the greatest tag teams of all time. You were telling me about the amount of championships they've won.
I've got some notes about Scott Steiner as well for the first time. I've done a little bit of research. So where are we? They won 11 tag team championships, which is a lot in ECW, WCW, WWF and New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Wow.
And they broke up in 1998, and when they had a little feud, and then Scott Steiner went off in his NWO and his singles run. But that is a lot. That is like Dudley Boy's numbers, isn't it?
Yeah. They won their first one in 89. They won the NWA tag titles, which, whilst they were still champions, became the WCW US tag team titles because WCW broke away from NWA. Then they vacated these once they won the WCW World Tag titles. They then became the IWGP champions, and they were known as the Triple Crown champs. So they were holding 3 sets of tag championships at the same time.
That's a
NWA.
Japanese thing, isn't it? The IWGP. Yeah, the Triple Crown as well.
Steiner had a little bit of a singles run then. He won the WCW TV championship. And my favourite part of Steiner's little run there was his excellent mullet. Have you seen his mullet?
I've seen his mullet. Does Rick have one as well? Do they both have them?
I don't think Rick did, no.
Maybe not.
No, I mean, maybe a little one. I don't know, because this is obviously the same time as Chamber of Horrors, Halloween Havoc.
They were both in the match, weren't they?
Yeah, but did Rick have a mullet then?
I don't think he did, but yeah, I remember I have seen Scott Steiner's mullet, because his character then of this just white meat baby face, I am just a wrestling fighting man, like not outspoken or anything. They were just ring technician sort of thing, and that was just their gimmick. Where we are wrestling fucking and we're good at it. So the whole Big Papa Pump thing is so fucking worlds apart.
Yeah.
It's such a massive jump and change in character. You just think, how hard was it to keep it together to be just this like what baby face?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. I guess once that part of his career was over, he then got known for sort of, I guess, the enormity of his body. And Yasmin, you mentioned about this as well. Tell us a bit about the size of Scott Steiner.
He's just built like a brick shithouse, isn't he?
it's actually incredible.
I think he's the biggest man I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'll back that. He's absolutely like he's one of his nicknames is the genetic freak, isn't it? And he's not. Have you seen his arm muscles when he like flexes? He kisses his muscles.
When he flexes his little pecs.
His pecs. He does a titty dance. Yeah, he is jacked, like ridiculously jacked. And I know everyone will just go, yeah, he was just on steroids, but
even like the height of him, he's just huge, isn't he?
He must be good 6'5".
Yeah, he's just a little shorter than Triple H.
6'3" or something.
Yeah, I reckon he must be about that size.
But yeah, everyone would just say, oh yeah, he's just sort of juiced up on steroids. But the amount of, obviously it is easier to build mass when you're on steroids, but the amount of hard work that you've got to put into it as well, and how, it's not just as simple as, I'm going to take steroids and I'm going to get massive. He is fucking jacked.
They probably have to eat the right things as well, don't they?
Yeah, of course. It's not just, I'm going to take these steroids and sit at home watching TV and I'm going to fucking turn into Scott Steiner. That's not how it works.
I wish it was like that. I might have a little go myself. So once he'd done his little singles run in WCW, the pair of them went across to WWF, and Bruce Pritchard apparently had a big thing for Scott Steiner. Not sexually, I don't think, but for his wrestling ability. And basically said, put him in the Rumble, he's going to win it, and then we're going to put him on a singles run with the title. And Vince was like, just hang on 2 seconds here. And then Steiner basically said, look, actually, I came here to be in the tag team with my brother. And Vince went, all right, we'll keep him in the tag team then. And so he didn't go on that run, but Pritchard was obviously very impressed by him.
He was actually really good as a single star though, wasn't he? In WCW and stuff.
I don't remember seeing him at this stage of his career.
How far back are we talking now?
This is 92.
Oh, sorry, yeah, God, no, I'm getting confused as well. But yeah, I thought you were talking about later on in his career.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he became a single star. This time he was really only known as a tag wrestler, apart from, the odd little runs he did. So in WWF, they had a little run with the tag. They had a feud with the Head Shrinkers, which included Rikishi when he was known as Fatu. Money Inc., which has IRS.
You like IRS,
I'm
don't
a
you?
massive fan of IRS.
It's a shitty gimmick, isn't it? What are they thinking?
Yasmin, for your sake, IRS, his name was supposedly Erwin R. Shyster, which came as IRS, and his gimmick was
Where is he from?
I don't know where he's from, like, as in location.
Yeah.
But he was in WWF, and he was a wrestling taxman. So he used to come along and be like, pay your dues, everybody. You pay your taxes.
And he was a massive heel, like everyone hated him.
Yeah, like it was like the Hamburglar, but not for hamburgers.
The taxes.
So it was just a fucking absolute dipstick. But anyway, he was fighting alongside the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Obviously, because Ted definitely weren't paying. They were definitely swindling his taxes.
Yeah, 100%. They also fought against the Smoking Guns with a couple of alumni. The Arse Man,
Mr. Arse.
he loves to pick them.
He loves to flick them.
He loves to sniff them. Mr. Arse himself, Billy Gunn, and Brawl for All winner Bart Gunn, and they were the Smoking Guns. So yeah, I thought they deserved a mention because they've all been on the podcast before. And then finally, they won the titles from Money Inc., which was IRS and Ted DiBiase, and then they fought and kept the titles against Blind Pierre.
Mate, this is
the
like
Quebecers.
this is like a who's who of crap wrestling.
I know, this is why it had to be mentioned.
That is such a good run. Well,
I know.
such a crap run. Yeah. Blind Pierre. Did he have an eye patch at this point?
I don't know if he was blind back then.
No.
But it would just be a...
Yeah, there's a. This is the tournament that we covered in our last episode. It's called the
Yeah.
Brawl for All tournament. So it was an actual fighting tournament.
Yeah.
Where they gave the wrestlers boxing gloves and basically just said, yeah, fight. And
Yeah.
everyone hates the concept. Everyone hates the tournament. So many
Yeah.
people got injured and stuff. Anyway, they wanted this bloke to win called
Yeah.
Dr. Death. And they put him in against this blind Pierre. He's a bloke with an eye. He's got an eye patch. He can't see out of one eye. so they put him in this fighting tournament against this kid, and they wanted to win. And they just get the shit beaten out of him. It's so
By
out
Dr.
of order.
Death.
Yeah, it's so out of order.
The worst bit about it is that, like, when he's boxing, he fights orthodox stance. His left eye is covered, which means he fights side on with his left eye forward. But of course, he hasn't got a left eye, so
he can't see.
he can barely see it at all. It's so bad.
So imagine, like, he can't see the punches coming at all because he can't see out of his eye.
Oh my God.
He gets the shit kicked out of him. It's so out of order.
Against the fucking hardest.
Yeah,
well,
against the geezer who they wanted to win, who everyone thought was going to win. He's the hardest
dear.
one. Blind Pierre.
But he didn't used to have an eye patch.
No, not in the Quebecers, whose gimmick is we come from Quebec. Good gimmick.
I bet Scott Steiner hated them.
He hates Canadians.
Yeah, he does.
Thinks that there should be a wall between America and Canada. We've got a wall that keeps the Mexicans out. Well, I think we should have a wall that keeps the Canadians out.
They are always like, everyone fucking hates Canada, don't they? Like, there's always so many gimmicks of like un-American Canadian people that hate Americans. And why do they hate each other so much?
I think it's because, like, America is seen as, like, I don't know, a little bit like lowbrow in comparison. Like, Canadians are known to be, like, really kind and polite. They've got free healthcare. They've got quite a good, like, political system and all that sort of stuff. Whereas America, I don't know, they're all seen as, like, brash and rude and
Redneck.
Loud.
yeah, some of them redneck and all that sort and loud, yeah, all those things, all those stereotypes.
I actually genuinely quite like Americans.
Yeah, I mean,
I've met quite a few and they're alright.
I've been to America a few times and I didn't, like, actively hate everyone that was there, no.
It'd be difficult to hate every single person that you met.
That'd be a miserable
I was
existence,
going
wouldn't
to
it?
say, fucking how long was you there for? 2 weeks. Imagine that, hating every single person that you met.
Stepping on people's toes as you're walking down the street and that.
Mate, yeah, on purpose.
Fuck you.
What a shitty holiday that'd be.
Pinching their backs and that. Wasn't me. There was a really good bit they did in like 96, 97, I believe, when they had a Canada versus, because it was Bret Hart, Owen Hart, the Quebecers, and it was all up against like Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, blah blah blah. But they had the big Canada thing then just before Bret Hart left, and it was a really good angle actually.
Stampede, wasn't it? Was that pay-per-view?
Yeah, I believe that it sort of come to a close around then. I believe, I don't know.
It was the Hart Foundation, wasn't it? But weren't Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid were, and they were English, weren't they? But they were in there as well.
Yeah.
They were all connected. Wasn't one of them married to?
Yeah, Davey Boy was married to
Dana.
Hart's sister or something, wasn't it?
It's Dana, her name is. Have you seen that? There's a famous rib where Shawn Michaels was supposed to have, in kayfabe, tried it on with Dana. And the rib was Bruce Pritchard did a very, very good Stu Hart impression. And he phoned Jim Cornette and was saying, "You've got Dana on television looking like a whore. You've got Dana on television acting like a whore. And I'm not happy about it." And yeah, that was the rib. And Jim Cornette obviously cottoned on, but I think they were trying to get him and trying to convince him that it was actually Stu Hart.
I think Stu Hart is like the most imitated person in wrestling. Everyone loves to do a Stu Hart imitation. I've never really heard him speak, so I don't really know.
I think Owen Hart was apparently the one who put Bruce Pritchard up to find Jim Cornette. Go and search for it on YouTube. If you type in like Stu Hart, Jim Cornette, it will come up straight away. It is funny hearing Jim Cornette talk about it.
Owen Hart, king of the ribs.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? He was massive on them.
Miss him a lot.
The blue blazer.
And we're not even finished there, because they then went off to NJPW for a little while. That's New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he fought against a tag team of the smelliest man in wrestling, Vader, who was tagged with Bam Bam Bigelow.
That is a fucking scary tag team, innit? Them two fuckers.
Yeah.
Fuck bumping into them two down a dark alley, mate.
watched Vader versus Kane from like '97 the other day. That was really good.
He was actually a really good worker. I've seen quite a bit of his old stuff as well. And,
Yeah.
Rob, if you're listening, I know you love Van Vader, so tweet us with some of your matches to check out.
Crap ones as well as good ones.
Yeah, I don't think he was in many crap ones. You know? If you ask Rob, will tell you that he wasn't in any crap ones. But
No, he was just in that crap promo where he said that he was a fat piece of shit and stuff.
this bloke was supposed to be like a real hard man. And he just come out on TV and just started going, "Oh, I'm a fat piece of shit and I'm a useless, worthless, fat fucking loser and I'll never be champion again because I'm a fat idiot." And it was just so fucking weird. Like,
I used to be good and now I suck.
just literally buried himself on TV for like no reason.
You guys should do like a poll on Twitter of getting like your followers to vote who you should do like your next podcast on.
I've only got about 4 followers. 3 of them are in this room.
Now we've got like 200 followers, but we don't get that much interaction. To be honest, we get a few comments here and there, but we don't actually get too many interactions.
When we're at like
You motherfuckers, get your fucking act together.
when we're at like 100,000 followers or something in a couple of weeks, and we'll do
Aim high.
Once we got all the sponsorship deals and all that, they went off to ECW for a bit. After that, don't know much about that. Obviously, won the tag team championships there, and then they went off to WCW again, and that is where we got the birth of the true Scott Steiner that we all know and love now.
the big bad Boosie Daddy,
Big Poppa Pump,
Freakzilla,
White Thunder.
the mathematician.
I'm out. You got any more?
No.
The Genetic Freak.
Oh yeah, that's one.
Damn.
How did I not think of that one?
Freakzilla.
The eeny meeny my champ, eeny meeny miny mo champion.
The Canadian hater.
The suplex, the belly to belly suplex.
And white trash hater.
Oh yeah, he hates white trash.
Fuck me, does this man hate white trash? Yeah, I guess this is where we start talking about the real fun side of Steiner, is that this is where he seemed to just go insane. Whatever he was doing at this time, I don't know if he was on drugs with a lot of people backstage or what, but he blonded his hair, apparently in an homage to superstar Billy Graham.
Is that right? Is it? I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I heard it on 83 Weeks, the Eric Bischoff podcast. And he also said this story about, and it's going back a little bit more, but Eric Bischoff, the first time he ever met the Steiners, they said, "Oh, Steiner's got a promo with you later, can you go and speak to him about what you're going to talk about?" And he said, "Yeah, no problem." Went backstage and he found that the Steiner brothers had got one of the referees and stuck a pencil inside their ass.
Well, they really actually did that.
That's what Bischoff said.
Why?
I don't know. But apparently Bischoff then was like, "Well, I know who not to fuck with now.
Well,
Don't fuck with the Steiners. They stick a pencil up your ass."
Well, they beat him up and buggered him with a pencil.
I don't know that it was like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how aggressive it is. Like, I don't know. I thought it was funny, but now you said it like that.
It's quite bad.
I feel quite bad laughing
this
about
is
it.
like this is like they could have got years in jail for this. It's actually like it's not funny.
I'm just laughing out of awkwardness now. If guys had a video podcast, see my red face. Pencils in bums.
Mate, that's fucking well bad though, isn't it? What the fuck?
Yeah, when you think about it, like, I suppose it is. Yeah.
Holler if you hear me.
Best thing about Steiner during this time, I mean, actually, it's more like in his TNA run where the promos get really mad, isn't it?
No, he was allowed to do what he wanted in WCW. I said that to you earlier, didn't I? There's one promo, it's quite famous, where he just started going, "Yeah, fucking WCW shit, go and watch Monday Night Raw. Don't watch Nitro, go and watch Monday Night Raw." And obviously, I think he realised that people liked him just going on mad rants, and it's probably just got worse and worse. But yeah, I think he was pretty much the same in WCW as well, towards the end, where they just let him go on there and just say what he wanted.
He started wearing that like chainmail stuff as well, didn't it?
Yeah, the knights, like, it's what they wear under the helmet, isn't it? It seems like it was like a descent into madness. Isn't it?
He won the heavyweight championship a couple of times in WCW. I don't know how many exactly, but I've seen most of Steiner in TNA because that's where his funniest moments seem to come from, at least like with regards to his promos and stuff. The maths one is well spoken about because he just goes on this rant about how everyone has zero chance because he had a 33% chance, and then actually someone else had no chance. That gave him 66% chance, and someone else,
Samoa Joe, had a 33% chance, and the third.
yeah,
Kurt Angle had no chance, and he had 66 2/3% chance.
and it added up to him having 141.3% chance.
Yeah, 141 2/3% chance he had in the end.
Did he win?
I don't actually know. He didn't need to, did he? He won the psychological warfare.
That's what matters. That's
Yeah.
what matters. But he's just wild in all his backstage promos or segments in TNA. He just goes one step further into ridiculousness. And as Yasmin alluded to earlier, can you tell us the actual context of the Mafia one?
So the lady's sewing his... Is
Like
it a
his
jacket
kit.
or something? Yeah. And then he spells mafia wrong with 2 F's. And then tells her to stick the other F where the sun don't shine.
Obviously, he was in a tag team called, or in like a stable called the Main Event Mafia. Like him and his mates were called the Main Event Mafia.
Yeah.
So
And
obviously
that just sums up what a moron he is to not be able to spell mafia.
And during this time, there's quite a lot of times when he just mispronounces stuff. And there's one, I can't seem to find it anywhere. And he goes, "You know what, Angle? Don't expect me to have no sympathy for you." When no C means sympathy. That's another one where he's like, "And you don't want to face up against the phenomenomenon."
He does it all the time, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just loses or gains syllables in
And you
just
don't
so
think
many
he's put
random.
on, do you? You think he's just actually like that?
Yeah, I think this is like maybe slightly exaggerated, but not a lot. I just think he's actually just a fucking maniac. I really do.
Even in that maths segment, he's like, "Are you talking to me about Smojo?"
Percent. He's like loads of stuff he can't say right. 22 2/3%.
And your chance goes down bad.
I feel like, yeah, like. Do you think it's because he's been hit in the head so many times?
There's a fair chance. I mean, there's quite a few wrestlers out there with CTE that weren't aware of it, I guess. Back to the sad thoughts again. But yeah, I mean, there's a fair chance that you get slammed on your head enough times, you're going to start having brain problems, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. He could speak like completely normally before, and then he got hit in the head of a chair, and then he's like that. It's fucking bad, isn't it?
We also watched, before coming on there, we started talking about the time where he did ring announcing for TNA, and it's just so fucking funny. I'll try and put the audio of some of this stuff in here so that you can listen to it. He's absolutely tearing the crowd to bits. We were saying earlier, who does Steiner hate, Yaz?
White trash.
He hates white trash. You're absolutely right. He's just caning the white trash guy. "And all you white trash rednecks."
White trash and rednecks. The following contest is a non-titles knockout handicap match scheduled for one fall. What that mean is 4 on 1.
He hates DDP as well, doesn't he? Because apparently DDP's white trash. He calls him Diamond Dallas Trash at one point.
What?
Yeah.
That don't even rhyme.
What is his definition of white trash? What is the definition of white
I
trash?
think it's like a very common, like, white person, isn't it? Like trailer trash type
Yeah,
thing.
well, alright,
Yeah.
so common. So surely you would describe him as white trash.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. If you took back all the oil and the fake tan, he'd probably be a very, very white man under that,
and he's-
wouldn't he?
and
Quite literally.
Quite trashy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about white trash. They often say it's like from the southern states in America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would
he's
it-
got to be from up north, and he definitely.
Yeah.
Not quite Canada, though, obviously.
Hey, don't go too far north, he hates them.
No.
Don't go too far south, he hates them. Yeah, he fucking hates white trash. He's going, "And all you rednecks and white trash out there," and then he starts trying to read out the names. And I was saying to Yasmin, obviously being new to wrestling, but the ring announcer's job is essentially you say the name of the wrestler, the weight of the wrestler, where they're from, and whether they're champion. Now, Scott Steiner struggles even with those 4 basic tenets. Because he can't pronounce a lot of the names. Like, even though he's probably been wrestling and working with these guys for how many years. But there's this bit where he basically is trying to introduce someone and he goes, "Introduce him first. Show Joe. Show Joe Bond. Rush. Show Joe Bond Rush."
Introducing first, What do you think about that?
Sean Jones, Bolt, Bush, every fuck Randy. How am I supposed to know what their names are?
And he goes, okay. The crowd are just like, what? They're all laughing at him and booing him and that just because he can't even say the name of the team. And then he goes, and the TNA champion, Awesome Kong, and the group known as Confucius. The crowd start pissing themselves, and then the commentators kind of sigh. They go, I think it's Contourage.
And the TNA knockout champion, Awesome Kong, the group known as Confucius.
I believe that's Contourage. Contourage right there, here they come.
It's not even close, is it?
No.
Confucius, Contourage. But yeah,
It's not even got the same letters.
No.
it's not even remotely close. You can't seem to pronounce a lot of these people. He's literally got his piece of paper in front of it, and he's like, every time he makes a mistake, he looks a little bit closer. You know, like he needs a pair of fucking, needs a monocle or something.
He squints a lot. I know he wears sunglasses a lot, but when he takes his sunglasses off, he looks like he's squinting a lot of times. You think he actually has got some sort of like problems with his eyesight, and everyone's just mocking him.
He's just reading it as he's seeing it.
He's got like a poor geezer.
Phenomenomenom.
Confucius.
Shoujo Butt Rush.
Who's Shoujo Butt Rush? Who is this?
I don't know. It's just how he says it. I don't know what it's actually supposed to be. We'd have to find out.
I love it when he's getting Bubba Ray Dudley.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll come to that later.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright. And this whole time, Kevin Nash is on the commentary, and every time he makes one of these bad mistakes, the camera just seems to pan to Nash, and he's just giggling the whole time. It's so funny.
He looks like he's trying not to break. He's like, you can see it in his face that he wants to just blow. And Kevin Nash is like, he's quite a like humorous bloke. If you see any interviews with him and stuff, he's I can imagine he's just dying inside, like trying not to fucking scream out with laughter. He's like trying to hold it together.
So good. Okay, so we're not actually on. I was just thinking that we're going on to the game show next. We're not. We're actually on to Triple H. I was so enjoying talking about Scott Steiner that I forgot that we've actually got another wrestler to talk
I
about.
fucking love Scott Steiner, man. He's such a character, isn't he?
Definitely. But Triple H, I mean, slightly less interesting person to talk about, I probably would have said. Yasmin, you aware of Triple H at all?
No, don't think so.
I think you definitely would have seen some of Triple H, like watching it with
I
me
probably
and stuff.
would have.
Hunter
with
Hearst
you.
Helmsley,
Doesn't
Paul
ring a bell.
Levesque.
Maybe if you showed me a picture, that it might ring a bell.
He spits a load of water out as he comes to the ring.
Don't a lot of them do that,
It's
though?
all about the game.
I don't know.
Now you play it.
It's all about the game.
Oh, yeah.
Hunter
Is
Hearst
he the one
Helmsley.
that gets his head shaved in one of them?
No, that's the you're getting him. I'm sure you're getting him mixed up with Edge,
Maybe.
who does the head shaving.
Yeah, he does
shaves
the
Kurt
head shave.
Angle's
That's
head.
it, yeah. I enjoy that one a lot.
The head shaving.
Yeah, in the barber chair.
We've been ribbing Yaz about her fancying Edge, but she's been denying it the whole time.
But then she just starts talking about an Edge match.
That's Edge.
Oh, I think I do recognise him.
Yeah, that's Edge now.
I think I
Yeah.
do fancy him. You're
I
right.
think I do fancy that one.
To be fair, he gets the ladies, doesn't he, Edge?
Does he?
Yeah.
Don't blame him.
The rated R superstar.
Rated R superstar.
Yeah.
There was a bit on WWE TV where they did a thing called the live sex celebration once.
Oh my god.
It's Edge and his missus.
They had to like pretend they were having sex in
Yeah, bumping
Bumping
uglies.
uglies.
Yeah.
big pumping uglies.
In the ring.
In
That
the
was
ring.
In the ring, yeah. Edge is famous for stealing Matt Hardy's wife, who was like supposed to be his mate, and they were all on the road together in the...
With wrestling now, I'm obviously assuming, like, obviously when you go and watch it, a lot of this hardcore stuff has been taken out of it now.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you go. Like, AEW, which is a real rising company at the moment, they had a hardcore match the other day between 4 women, and WWE, who I've tended to go and watch their actual like shows, they basically put out a statement being like, you can see from all the blood that's in their women's match that these are obviously different businesses, we're not into that sort of thing. That wouldn't stand up with our sponsors. Basically just like trying to denounce them for doing this stuff, being like, oh, we've moved on from all that stuff, we're bigger than that now.
There's no poking pencils up each other's asses no more.
No, that was backstage. That wasn't even an angle, they just done that.
No.
Done it in real life for fun.
So with a lot of the stuff that me and you have watched, like the old stuff where you see
Yeah.
them, you know, in the cell and a lot of them are bleeding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't run these days in
No.
WWE.
No.
But if you want to go and watch it, like AEW, I showed you that was the burning table that I
Yeah.
showed you recently. That was in
Yeah.
AEW and Cody Rhodes, wasn't it? In the street fight.
I think if you do like your hardcore wrestling, I think there's a match in AEW between Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, and they have a really gory match. They have like thumbtacks and all sorts of stuff like going in the face and all sorts of stuff like
What's
that.
the one where they have like the barbed wire?
Yeah, barbed wire on a 2x4, isn't it? But if you like some serious shit, like I was going to say, if you want to go and watch it, you probably don't want to go and watch it. But
No.
you know that T-shirt that I've got, Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling.
Yeah.
So in the 90s, they did a lot of these barbed wire death matches where they would replace the ring ropes with barbed wire.
Oh
And
yeah,
then they
you
would
told me about
literally
them.
just throw each
Yeah.
other into the ring ropes. They'd have explosives in the ring. And
Yeah.
fish tanks full of needles, like intravenous needles. They'd throw each other into the literally anything fucking goes. And there's some real bad companies out there like CZW and stuff where like it's really bad. And that's now like CZW and all this. But yeah, in the big boys, you don't really get it as much.
No.
So Triple H basically started out. I can't remember where it was, but I did listen to a podcast about him the other day. I can't remember where exactly he was doing this sort of territory-based stuff. But he became just a gym freak who became wrestler rather than a wrestler who became a gym freak. He was just loved going to the gym so much. He's not a drinker. He's not a smoker. He doesn't do drugs. It's a bit shady on whether he's ever done steroids or not. There's nothing out there that says he does or he has. But it would be almost surprising if he didn't, looking at the size of it.
I would bet my life on it. And I'll tell you what, there was a time when I think it was in the early 2000s, where he had an injury and he was laid off for like 8 months. And he was getting quite chubby before he went. And if you see the before and after pictures on the first night that he came back on Raw after like an 8-month layoff, I mean, he was again slightly chubby. He had a bit of a darb going on and he was a bit chubby
It's a
in
bit
the
of a
face.
telltale sign,
And
isn't it?
literally like 8 months later after this layoff, he come back and he was cut. He was like a fucking Adonis, and it was just like... Obviously there's no evidence to support the fact that he was definitely doing steroids, but I would bet my fucking life on the fact he was.
I suppose when you're so dedicated to being the bodybuilder that just sort of happens to be a wrestler, it's kind of that, isn't it? He was in this territory, I don't know where it was exactly, but there was this hilarious story that I heard about that basically there was a wrestler who his whole gimmick was that every moment of the match he would just run around screaming. You know, the match started doing his moves, screaming the whole time, and whoever the promoter was basically said, "Look, man, this guy's got an injury, and we think we want you to come in and take his gimmick."
You've got to be the screamer.
The screamer.
The screamer.
Yeah.
And Triple H was trying to basically just say, I don't know, I don't want to take someone else's gimmick. And they were like, nah, we really think you should do it. And eventually he was just like, no, fuck that.
I'm
But
not being the screamer.
can you just imagine Triple H just running around screaming, doing suplexes, doing a pedigree with fucking just looking at the crowd and being like,
Mate, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. And what the fuck? What is that gimmick all about? I'd love to see this. I've never seen this.
oh man, it just sounds hilarious. But yeah, that's where he kind of cut his teeth at least. When he joined, he went to WCW for a bit first, but didn't really get over. I don't think they gave him many opportunities. But he was in the power plant for a little while.
He had some sort of like French gimmick in WCW because obviously his name's like Paul Levesque, so they said he had to be like French Canadian, and he had to like speak French, didn't he?
Paul the Bishop.
Yeah, Paul the Bishop, Paul Levesque. But yeah, he was actually just called that, Paul Levesque, I think, his actual name in WCW, and they tried to get him to speak French and stuff.
So when he went to WWF, he came in as the Blue Blood Hunter Hearst Helmsley, because of course back then Hearst Helmsley was double-barreled, and double-barreled meant posh back in the day. I don't know if that still counts now, I'm not really sure, but that was the thing that they were going for. That's why they called him Triple H, that he was going to be basically this posh guy who was very rich and he could buy off the refs and all that sort of stuff. And as he used to walk into the ring, he used to like turn his nose up at the crowd, brush them off and all that sort of thing. And
It's kind of like a Kanan stuff, didn't he? Like walk to the ring with a Kanan, like in a like suit and stuff, like tuxedo and that.
yeah, it was so weird.
Do you know the story behind that gimmick?
No.
That Vince done it. He hated his neighbours in Greenwich. This is where like a billionaire's sort of like place where they all the super rich live. And this gimmick was him sort of taking the piss out of his neighbours and the people that lived in his sort of like neighbourhood and stuff.
Fair enough. I mean, it took the piss out of whoever it was pretty hard because it was such a weird gimmick. It was not very good. Yeah, Triple H was talking a bit of a posh voice and all that sort of stuff. It wore off over time, particularly as DX came about. He was then doing stuff like the suck it and the crotch chops and all that sort of stuff, saying WCW sucks while flying a plane about.
Yeah, flying his jet and
driving a tank.
There's that famous promo, isn't there, where the game, where that nickname, do you remember that famous line, I am the fucking game, JR? These people say they're students of the game. Well, I am the fucking game, JR. Yeah. Because they sort of give him a bit of creative freedom and said, sort of go and say what you want.
Yep.
And that was what he said, and that became his nickname, didn't it, the game?
Booker's making the game or something. That's where he talks about like gym routines and all that sort of stuff. And how
I was going to ask, have you read his book?
I've listened to a podcast about the book.
Yeah, so did he have any sort of like sporting background before he went into wrestling? Did he wrestle in high school or anything like that?
I don't know. What my understanding is that he just loved going to the gym. I don't know. I imagine there must have been some sport behind him, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was sort of like a lot, because you get a lot of these wrestlers especially in that era, were like really good amateur wrestlers or very good footballers and athletes and stuff like that. I didn't know if there was anything that he was sort of into.
Yeah, so he went to DX, but even I suppose a bit before that, he was in the Clique, which was basically like a backstage group. You had a couple that were around at the time. You had the Bone Street Crew, which was basically all Undertaker's gang, and that included, I believe, Ron Simmons, also known as Farouk.
Rikishi.
And they used to play, Rikishi, yeah. Yokozuna. I don't know about Owen Hart.
Yeah, he was.
I would have thought so, because he wouldn't be part of the Clique, would he?
He got him hats made, saying BSK.
Excellent.
The Godfather.
Oh yeah, Godfather was definitely in it, yeah. But they used to play a dice game called Bones or something along those lines, and that's why they were that. The Clique were basically Shawn Michaels, the 1, 2, 3 kid who became X-Pac later on.
Shawn Morton.
Shawn Morton.
Yeah. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall.
Yep.
And Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Aldo, Just Incredible.
Yeah.
I think that was all of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they used to do a lot of drugs and go out partying and all that sort of stuff. And Triple H, I think, likes to think that he was really one of the boys, but the impression that everyone always gives in the shoot interview since that he was the driver because he didn't drink. Everyone else, didn't want a DUI on the record, so he was the designated driver for them. And in his book, he talks about, during that time, I always used to, get loads of women and all that sort of stuff, but no one else ever talks about him doing that stuff. I think he's just making it up, basically.
He thinks he was like a proper sex machine, and he was actually
ladies man.
a real ladies man. He was actually just the driver. No, they were all like bad into sort of fucking anything they could get their hands on, weren't they? I know X-Pac had a stint on the crystal meth and stuff like that. I think they were like really, really into the fucking drugs, weren't they? I know I've read well documented about Scott Hall. Obviously, everyone's seen what he's like as Shawn Michaels, and Kevin Nash was obviously didn't seem to really have a problem as such, but I think he was a fucking party animal, and Triple H has kind of had a lot of fun in this group of fucking hanging about with all these, surely.
I think he just wanted to be part of the crew. The big thing that goes on about Triple H is that he would do anything to climb to the top of the business, and that meant basically bum-licking anyone who had favour with Vince McMahon. We all know from the Shawn Michaels episode that Shawn Michaels had Vince McMahon's ear because Vince McMahon, he could see something of himself in Shawn. So when Paul Levesque realises that Shawn Michaels has got Vince's ear, well, I better get him with Shawn.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, although, they did have the stroke and they did do a lot behind the scenes to hold other people back to get themselves over, but they were all that good. They really, really were. You had Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels were obviously the top of the tree at that time. They really, really were. Shawn Michaels, fucking obviously everyone's favourite. Incredible, the showstopper. Kevin Nash, although he wasn't technically that great at wrestling, he was fucking good, and he knew how to work the crowd and gimmick worked. The Diesel thing, he was just so cool. Scott Hall, we spoke about, he was like the best of the rest. If you go and watch X-Pac back now, or Shawn Waltman, he never has a fucking bad match. He's so good. And Triple H is the same as well. Yeah,
if you ever watched the 1, 2, 3 kid versus Bret Hart in '94, it was when he just comes on the scene. What a match that is! It shows that X-Pac kind of had excellence in 2 separate eras. Is that he was like this babyface, and I don't just mean babyface as in he was a face in the company. He actually looks babyface. The way he takes on Bret in that match as kind of like a young upstart who's trying to make his way towards the top. Obviously, then goes off to WCW and doesn't make so much impact. I don't think.
He had a different name in WCW, didn't it? Was it Seven? Was he called Seven in WCW?
It was something to do with. I think it was called Six Pack.
Was it Six Pack?
I think it was.
And
And
then
then
7, but yeah, I knew it was a number, but yeah.
7 Pack.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't a clue. Yeah, I don't know. It could be. I don't know. God knows, but I knew it was a number of some sort, and I didn't really know why.
And then obviously comes back as X Pac and does some really good matches, causing DX and all that sort of thing. But yeah, been somewhat of a waste of talent, I guess. I feel like he could have been a bigger deal than he was, but
Just didn't have the size for it, did he?
No, I
That's
guess
the
not.
thing. He was much smaller than all the other guys. But you say that though, he was still like, you know, multiple time tag team champion, multiple time hardcore champion, like, you know, lightweight,
European.
like heavyweight champion Europe, all of the sort of mid card titles.
Yeah,
It was sort of, another one who's sort of like the best of the rest sort of thing.
Yeah, fair point.
I know I just said that, you know, Triple H did never really have a bad match with anyone, and we're just about to review a fucking terrible Triple H match, but you know what I mean though, like he was the top of the tree for so fucking long. Right?
Yeah. He then won King of the Ring. Obviously they had the curtain call, which was the big problem for Triple H, was that just as Nash and Hall are on their way out to WCW, they had a big hug in the ring at the end of their last match in WWF.
It was a house show though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it basically made WWF look like chumps because they played like this big thing about how they'd fallen out and all that sort of thing, and then they gave them a big hug at the end of the show. It made WWF look stupid, and that like their whole storyline was fake, which obviously it is. But
2 of them were faces and 2 of them were heels as well, weren't they? And it was all just like, it threw a lot of shade on the business. It fucking back in the time when early 90s when they were still going for the fact that people actually believed it was real.
Yeah, and Triple H was going to win the King of the Ring that year. They basically said, no, you're not going to win King of the Ring now. But the punishment was very small, really. He didn't win the King of the Ring, but then he just won it the next year anyway.
They fucking absolutely... I've watched a documentary about that on a curtain call. Might have been a wrestling bios, I'm not sure, but they buried him badly. He lost every match for fucking ages. It was months. The house show matches, everything. He lost and lost and lost. It squashed his push a lot because as you say, he was just about to win the King of the Ring, and
he got slopped by Henry O. Godwin, didn't he?
Yeah, he got it. Yeah, that's what I mean. He got it bad. Like he really did. He got thrown in the pig shit on live on TV and that. Like he did get it bad, quite bad.
I had the impression that it wasn't as severe as was suggested, but I don't know.
Well, he didn't get sacked.
Yeah,
and he didn't get fined or anything like that. But yeah, they jobbed him out big time.
Yeah.
They used to fine people.
Yeah, people get fined all the time.
What, a lot of money or?
I think it'd probably be 4 figures or 5 figures, wouldn't it? It would be a substantial amount of their
to what it was,
wages. Yeah. So if they got like caught smoking weed, like if they got caught doing other drugs, they would get suspended.
Yeah.
But if they got caught smoking weed, because it wasn't like serious, it was like a weed tax. They used to call it. Like if you was a weed smoker, you just knew you was getting fined. Like, and I'm pretty sure it was $2,500 every time they'd done a drug test, which was like 5 times a year. Yeah. So they used to dish out a lot of fines to people. Yeah.
Back then, suspension was really big because your wage was like a percentage of the gate. So however many people came in, they'd give the people like at the top of the card, they would give them like 10% of the gate, and then it would like go next people 5%. 2%, 1%, whatever. But if you're suspended, it means that they had a very basic salary, which maybe, I don't know, so that's 20 grand a year or whatever.
Yeah.
And then obviously every night you're on the show, you might get an extra 5 grand or whatever. But if you're suspended for a month, you're on your basic wage.
Yeah.
If you're used to living on bloody 20 grand a month or something, and then suddenly, I don't think it was that much, but suddenly you get this big drop in wage, then it was a big effect on them if they got suspended.
They're paid obviously they're paid a lot of money now.
Yeah.
And they get a lot of royalties and stuff like that. When you go back to when we're talking about now, when these guys first started out in the late 80s and the early 90s, they didn't get good money at all.
No.
Even at the top level, even when they were on TV and stuff, they weren't getting millions.
No.
They were literally getting just a lot of them were struggling to pay the bills and stuff like that, weren't they? Like they really were. They liked it because they loved wrestling and they were famous and they were doing cool stuff and travelling.
They've probably made more money out of it since. You know, some people from what they've been on since, like being interviewed and things like that.
Yeah. So sponsorship and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like they were making a lot more money off of the royalties of their merchandise than that they sold in the actual wrestling contract. But you would, if you got suspended, then they wouldn't give you your royalties for that quarter as well.
Yeah.
So you fucked it basically. Yeah.
Triple H obviously broke away after he won the King of the Ring. He would then become a big single star. Went into a feud with Cactus Jack. He then, I feel like Cactus Mankind, I feel like Mick Foley really put him over. He became a much bigger deal after that feud. And that's just the magic of Mick Foley, I guess. He's just an exceptional wrestler.
That was the defining point of his career, wasn't it, Triple H? That was when he went from being sort of like Shawn Michaels' mate to being the fucking top of the tree himself, and he was the top of the tree, wasn't he? After The Rock and Austin bowed out and Austin quit and Rock went to Hollywood, it was Triple H.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, the Triple H versus Cactus Jack. This isn't the same feud, by the way. I'm talking about a 97 feud. Moving on to like early 2000, from Royal Rumble through to No Way Out, and that. They had like a 4-month Cactus Jack versus Triple H feud where they had the Royal Rumble for the street match, and they had the retirement match at No Way Out. But yeah, a lot of really good matches where basically Cactus Jack versus Triple H. Best feud that I've ever seen in wrestling, then, now, forever.
It was good.
Really good. But he's been basically top of the tree ever since. And then he went into the Reign of Terror, which you had to endure pretty much, and I got to skip.
Yeah, no, that was my period of watching wrestling. So this match we're going to go and watch now, I remember watching this pay-per-view.
When it first came out.
Yeah, when it first came out, 2003. Like, this was my prime era of when I was a real wrestling fan, because Toad, when he talks about he used to watch it in 99 and 2000, and I've gone back and watched it since, but I was a little bit too young. I hadn't started properly watching it yet. 2001 was when I proper became a fan, all through 2002, 3 and 4. So yeah, this was sort of like, the Reign of Terror was Triple H was world champion, and he was married to Vince McMahon's daughter, and Vince McMahon's obviously the leader of the company, so he was just world champion. Obviously, as we know, it's all predetermined, so he just always won. He was world champion.
You told your listeners Toad's age then.
That's all right.
Because saying he's older than you, so he watched the 1999 ones.
Yeah,
well, they know I'm an old bastard.
We don't mind that sort of thing. But yeah, he just never lost, basically. He had the championship for about 3 years or something stupid, and if he lost it, he got it back 3 days later, or got it back a week later, or something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was hard to endure, to be honest. There's so many other people that could have won it at the time, so many good talents that were held down for him, and it seems a bit fucking stupid.
I remember being 10 watching WrestleMania 2000, and it was Cactus Jack, Triple H, The Rock. I want to say, do you remember the 4 McMahons in every? Sorry, a McMahon in every corner.
Yeah, Big Show.
It was Big Show. Well, I thought it was Big Show, but yeah. And I was like, The Rock's going to win it, or Cactus Jack's going to win it, and then he'll come back and he won't be retired anymore. And neither of them won it. Triple H won it, and I was just like, ah!
I fucking hated Triple H. He was a heel. He was a heel, and his character was for everyone to hate him. And he was so good at it. He was such a hateable character. Yeah. He was an absolute wank stain. He really was. Like, he was so horrible. He was always cheating. He was always doing the horrible little stuff. And I genuinely hated him, and I wanted him to lose so much, and he never lost. And it just made me hate him even more. I used to get this rage. Like, I used to feel it. I can feel the emotion now. He was such a good character. I knew it wasn't real as well at this point, but I just still hated him so much. I just wanted him to lose.
He's not the best technician in the ring. He's alright. He's fine.
He's good.
Yeah, he doesn't make any errors really, but at the same time, I wouldn't say he was the most...
Not a showstopper, is he?
Nah, he's not Shawn Michaels.
No, he's just one of the 7 out of 10 every week, isn't he? That's the thing.
Exactly, yeah, and he just held the title forever and ever. And then he went on,
I was going to say, the company loved him because he would do stuff like completely rip his quadriceps off the muscle in a match, and then he would go and finish the match and still have a decent match, or he would like crush his windpipe in a match and not be able to breathe, and then go and wrestle for half hour after.
Yeah, he put his body on the line for the company, and I think they like that a lot, and understandably so. You need people to put their bodies on the line in wrestling because that's the job, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. It was just sort of like, he's put his body on the line, but he would also, it didn't matter if he was injured. He would still fucking work. He would still perform. He gave the maximum amount of effort to that company, and he took it so seriously. So I suppose that's why they give him the championship as sort of like locker room leader sort of thing, because of his work ethic.
It went on after that as well, wasn't it? It's not like, he had the Reign of Terror and then it ended, because he carried on wrestling and he would keep coming back for WrestleMania matches and stuff, and it didn't really end until he fought against Batista at WrestleMania 34, I think it was. That's recent. It's like 3 years ago.
Self-indulgent.
It is self-indulgent.
Entrances
Terminator.
He'd dress up as the Terminator and have Motorhead go and do a live performance at WrestleMania to sing his entrance music, and he was just it just get more and more stupid every year, wouldn't it?
So that's the 2 wrestlers. So we're going to go and move on to the match now. But before that, we have this week's game show.
I think I've got 141 and 2/3% chance of winning this game show this week.
You probably do, because we watched quite a lot of the videos that I got the quotes from. So, the name of the game is this, and I know this is your favourite part of the week, Weston.
It is.
It's called Strike While the Iron is Scott.
Okay.
Do you like that one?
I do quite like it, yeah.
So we don't need to hear the next one?
No, obviously.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Alright, well the next one, just in case you didn't like that one. Cat Scott your tongue.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Do you want some more?
Yeah, definitely.
Scott off the press.
Oh, that was fucking awful.
Oh, that was
I'm
good.
going to let you off scot-free for that one.
Okay, you're definitely going to like this one, because this is proper wrestling. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Chocolate starfish and the Scott dog flavoured water.
Oh, yeah, love a Limp Bizkit reference.
Which one are you going for?
Oh, it's got to be that.
This game is called Chocolate Starfish and the Scott Dog Flavoured Water. Okay, so the aim of the game is this. I'm going to give you 5 lines of dialogue, and one of them did not come from Scott Steiner's mouth. Which is it? First one is, I got a fat Samoan hunting me down with a machete like I'm a big piece of hamburger or something, like I'm a big Twinkie, like I'm a big piece of bacon, so you can take care of this thing on your own.
I think that is... He said that.
What about you, Yes?
Yeah, okay, I'll go for it. He said that.
Okay, number 2. Listen, Hogan. You think you can pogo your way in here and bounce your way with the fans, but I'm the main event mafia. I'm a genetic freak, and you got nothing when I'll pick that stick up and break it over your fucking head.
He definitely said
Yeah,
that.
100%. I'll bet my life on him saying that.
Okay, next out. Hailing from Dunkin' Donuts in the great state of obesity, it's Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yeah, he said that.
We've seen him say that, haven't we?
Oh, but he would have said Bully Ray Dudley.
Oh, he may have done, yeah, absolutely. Maybe that was the trick. It wasn't, that was just an error by me. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm good at eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Shut up, Cornette, I'll stick that fine up your ass.
Yeah, he said that.
Okay, next one. I don't have 3 days and 30 nights to show your wife what a physical phenomenon I really am.
Yeah, he said that.
You ain't no match for the man with the largest abs in the world, because I'm going to get the whole world and say, Veni, Vidi, Vici.
The man with the largest abs in the world. How can you have large abs? Yeah, I reckon he said it, but it doesn't make any sense.
Well, one of them is not real.
Oh, it's the last one then.
How about you, Yes? Which one
Yeah,
is it?
no, it doesn't sound like him.
Unfortunately,
Oh.
you're both wrong.
Really?
He didn't tell Hogan he was going to pogo his way in there and bounce his way and break his pogo stick over his head.
Did he really?
He didn't say that. And do you know where I got it from? There is a wrestling match that I managed to witness today. Scott Steiner is on a pogo stick in the wrestling match. He's like bouncing around outside. He tries to do like a drop kick from the pogo stick, and someone clothesline him.
Where was this?
Like,
TNA?
it's got to be TNA.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah,
Well, it might have been one of the crazy last days of WCW, but yeah, I don't know where it
yeah, it's
where
yeah.
from.
I would bet on TNA though, to be honest. But it could have been that. Yeah, it could have been that. But fucking hell, that sounds. I want to go and see. I don't know if I want to see this or not. It just sounds fucking weird.
Yeah, so unfortunately, you only got 5 toad points this week out of 6. I actually had that in.
I think I've done that pretty much every time, haven't I? I've got one wrong.
You tend to get a really good score. You tend to do really well on it. Yeah. Shows how good I am at writing the Scott Steiner promo. Maybe I should write some more.
Yeah, mate, that was fucking brillint.
Well, right. You said genetic freak, so it's just obvious.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that was actually well good. I can't believe he said that I've got the biggest abs in the world, actually thinking about it. Vidi vidi voom.
Doesn't even make sense, does it?
What does he say at the end?
Fendi Vidi Vici.
Vidi
It's obviously
Vidi
supposed to be
Vici.
Fendi Vidi Vici, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But he goes, so it's Fendi Vidi. And you have to think about it for a little while. He goes, Fucci.
Mate, he's fucking brilliant, isn't he? He really, really is.
It's well funny when you can just see the cogs whirring in his head.
Yeah, he does that quite a lot, doesn't he? He like stops to think in his promos.
Yeah.
You can see the monkey hitting the tambourine. He's rattling around in there. Isn't
That's fucking excellent. Yeah. Okay, so that's the game show. Thank you very much for playing, both of you. We're going to go away now and watch the match together, and we will come back and talk to you about it afterwards. Before we go into the match then, Weston, tell us what happened in the lead up to this match.
Right, so I do know, as I say, I do know a little bit about the build up to this match. As I say, this was my era, and I have gone back and watched it fairly recently. So Scott Steiner in 2001, when the WCW were bought out, he had one of those Time Warner guaranteed contracts.
Yep.
So instead of going to WWE, then he sat the contract out, done a little bit of indie work, then went to the WWE obviously in 2003. He actually went there in 2002.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Right at the end of the year, and then obviously this is rolling into 2003 now, isn't it? So there was a big hoo-ha about who he was going to sign for, SmackDown or Raw, and he basically comes out to the ring during some ceremony with Evolution about talking about how great Triple H is, and he comes out and he says to Eric Bischoff during the ceremony, right, I'll sign if I get a World Heavyweight title shot. And this is when, when they start getting at each other. But obviously Scott Steiner was shoot injured, not in kayfabe, he was shoot injured at the time and he couldn't compete. So in the run-up to this match, there's no wrestling at all. He can't wrestle. He is medically inactive. So they do a bloody push-up competition, an arm wrestling competition, a pose-down competition, obviously where he's so muscular and stuff, and they're trying to get out of him being there the best that they can. But in the run-up to this fight, I think he hadn't wrestled, at all. He'd had, one house show match, before this. So how they thought it was a good idea to put him in the fucking main event for the World Heavyweight Championship of the Royal Rumble is beyond me. And he had never wrestled Triple H before either, which surely...
Yeah, you can tell there's not the chemistry there, isn't it?
There's got to be something, before a match. But yeah, that was basically the backstory of this match. But they build Scott Steiner up like he's an absolute monster going into this. Triple H is fucking terrified of him, and they put him over massive JR and the King. Backstage, they thought he was going to come in and absolutely take the company by storm because he was one of the real top guys in WCW. He lost the WCW championship on the last episode of Nitro to Booker T. He was the champion for ages before that.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, I think they took it off him, basically, knowing that he was just going to go home, whereas Booker T was going to go straight to WWF, wasn't he?
Makes sense.
So
yeah.
I think they took it off him and gave it to Booker T, but he was the champion for ages before that. So the story of the match is Scott Steiner's just come in and he's signed on Raw because he basically wants to win the World Heavyweight Championship.
Fair enough.
And this is it going into the Rumble now.
I know so little about this. I'm glad that you're well versed because I ain't got a clue. But yeah, my big question about this was that this title is called the World Championship, and I was kind of just questioning, what is it? Is this the championship that was the WCW Championship or what?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is. It's
right.
It was the WCW Championship, but it's the World Heavyweight Championship. But I don't know why it's just the World Championship because it is the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, it became that later down the line.
I'm not sure, but I know on SmackDown it was the WWE Champion,
which is still the same now.
Yeah, and on Raw it was the World Heavyweight Championship. The belt was the same as what they had on WCW. They didn't change it. Right. It was brought straight over.
Or is it SmackDown? SmackDown's now the Universal Championship.
Why did they bother changing it? This worked fine.
That was a lovely belt though.
What, this one in here? Yeah, the World Heavyweight Championship's beautiful, and it was the WCW belt for fucking years. It's generations old, that belt. It's a lovely belt as well, and it's recognisable.
The WWE Championships now, they look quite silly. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah, they look like costume belts. They look like kids' PG era, isn't it, I suppose? But yeah, if you saw someone coming out to the ring holding this belt, they mean fucking business, whereas now they've got some little blue piece of shit or a fucking fiend mask struck to them. I think they just...
don't even talk to me about that motherfucking piece of shit.
I think they started getting stupid when John Cena turned it into a fucking spinner. That was when it really stopped, when they started having their own belts. Even though Steve Austin had a belt, didn't he? The Broken Skull belt. And that was...
but it looked sharp though.
Yeah, that was sick. That was cool. But yeah, this World Heavyweight Championship, and Scott Steiner's built up to be an absolute fucking monster going into this match, but you're going to see soon that he can barely fucking move.
Yeah, and I guess a little bit about the intro package as well. I mean, very similar to what you've just spoken about, apart from obviously you don't know that he's shoot injured. You basically just see all of this run up that Triple H has this ceremony, and I don't really know what it was about because I haven't watched it back. I'm not sure if you know.
I don't know. I thought it was something, but it turned out to be something completely. Yeah, it wasn't what I thought. I don't really know. It's just a fucking ceremony of I'm the best, basically.
Yeah, you just keep getting that Triple H thing that he keeps going, I'm just dead. damn good. Yeah, just remembering about the Reign of Terror and stuff, I'm just like a bit sick and tired of hearing that thing. I don't know if it was cool back then, but it's not cool now. It's really quite frustrating to keep hearing it. But he says it like 3 times during the intro. Rarely I criticised the intro package, but other than that, it was fine. But it was kind of like you didn't have much to go on because there wasn't a lot of wrestling between them before this.
Fucking stupid competitions.
And wrestling and press ups.
I'll tell you what though,
shit.
Triple H has got like a varsity jacket, which was obviously part of his merch at this point with the Triple H logo, the like cross, and it's a fucking nice jacket. That is. I saw it, I thought, oh yeah, Hunter, that is a fucking stylish, nice jacket.
If you have one of them jackets, send it to us at the Crap Wrestling Podcast.
In a medium, I will.
That's the intro package. It's not too much more than the actual story that leads up to the match. Yeah, is there anything else you want to add on the intro package at all?
Not really. He made his debut in 2002, didn't he, at the Survivor Series. He came out, kicked in Christopher Nowinski and Matt Hardy. He said, give me the fucking mic.
Yeah. I meant to say he stormed... Did I say this already? He stormed the ceremony and that's what kicked off the big thing.
Yeah. So this is going back, though. This is the first intro to WWE he did, obviously, but he was injured, so he didn't wrestle on that show. But that was his debut in WWE. When he came out of the Survivor Series, that was when the dispute between Stephanie McMahon and Eric Bischoff, who he was going to sign for, that was his story, his gimmick then, his storyline sort of thing. And then he went on to straight into this main event run against Triple H, which was, it's over 2 pay-per-views as well, this run. I thought it might have been 3, but yeah, it's 2, and I don't think they sort of realised how bad he was going to actually be.
I just remember something really funny. This is a little bit off course for the intro stuff, but I just remembered that Steiner said this thing about Triple H once. He was talking about the Hall of Fame, and he says something along the lines of, yeah, I'm in a Hall of Fame, but mine's an actual building with walls and ceilings, and you can see my name in there. Not like this fake Hall of Fame where they just put your bust up in some room that doesn't really exist.
Yeah, I've heard him say something like that before. He actually he's got this like real vendetta against the Hall of Fame, the fact that it's not actually a hall. It's just a metaphorical hall full of legends. He is really fucking angry. Not that he'd ever get in there because they hate him at WWE, but he's really angry that it's not an actual hall, which is a bit weird. I think he doesn't understand the concept.
Scott Steiner, wrestler, speaker of truths, lover of halls.
Yeah, hater of white trash.
But the funny thing was the real kicker at the end of that speech that he gave is that he then said, yeah, and Stephanie McMahon's bust goes back to the Macho Man, because obviously there was that rumour about them sleeping together.
Well, she was fucking really young then as well, wasn't she?
And Ric Flair's goes back to Triple H. I don't know if that was some rumour as well, but yeah, obviously Ric Flair comes out with Triple H in this one. So.
What, is there a rumour that Ric Flair and Triple H was, fucking hell?
No, I don't know. I'm only going by what's Steiner said, but yeah, I mean, if that's the suggestion that Stephanie goes back to Macho Man, because obviously there's rumours that they slept together. I don't know how founded they are, though. I think they're a bit mad, but
yeah, she was fucking really young when Macho Man was in there as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like the idea of that rumour too much.
No, I like the Macho Man as well.
But yeah, if that's what he's going by, then it would kind of allude to that being the case. Anyway, that's a bit of an aside. That's the intro, that's the story. So we're going to go and watch the match now, and we'll come back and talk to you about it afterwards. Okay, so we've just watched Triple H versus Scott Steiner from Royal Rumble 2003. Weston, your overarching thoughts for the match?
I don't like it. I really don't like it. It didn't gel. It didn't work. It wasn't nice to watch. And then Scott Steiner's just exhausted, shouldn't be there. And the ending is fucking horrible. It's so bad.
How about you, Yasmin? You just made a comment just before we started recording. What was it?
I loved Big Poppa Pump's. Am I saying it properly? Big Poppa Pump's pants.
The fact that it says Big Poppa Pumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said something after that. You basically said...
Not a lot happened. It's
yeah.
not, as I said before, I like the matches where there's a lot going on, lots of action, but it's pretty boring. Lost interest very quickly.
It wasn't a classic, was it?
No.
Shit.
I sincerely hope, because I think everyone who's a wrestling fan is just desperately hopes that they can get their partner into wrestling. So I hope you don't think that this is what wrestling is like all the time.
No.
And this is going to stop you from wanting to watch it.
Wrestling podcast for a reason.
Exactly. That's what we're here for. Yeah, and this was crap wrestling, absolutely. Yeah. Starts off with Triple H walking down to the ring. I was a bit disappointed we got the Metallica Triple H song, because I like the kind of electronic one that he has in, I guess, sort of 2000. Yeah, West, you're a fan of this one though, aren't you?
It's Motorhead, it's not Metallica.
Oh shit, Motorhead. Dang.
Time to play the game.
I thought Lemmy was in the room then.
Yeah, it's a good impression, isn't it?
Time to play the game. Yaz, it's your turn.
Time to play the game.
That was Jigsaw from Saw.
My tummy crumbled with that as well. I don't think it added to the effect.
I didn't hear it.
Triple H was in red pants tonight, and I don't think I've ever seen him. Like, obviously I've watched this before, but I don't remember ever seeing him in red pants. I always remember him in black pants.
Purple. I've seen him wear purple.
Yeah.
I've seen him wear white. Maybe he's just got a selection of pants.
He must do. But yeah, red pants for this one. I was kind of surprised by it. That's two sets of pants till we've had now.
That's the highlight of the match for you, is the fact that Triple H had different pants on.
It was just very surprising to me.
Maybe he was washing his other ones.
He comes down with Ric Flair as well, and I mean Ric Flair has a little bit to do with this match, I suppose. Do you know why Ric Flair was involved with the game at the moment?
I know the real reason why he was actually involved in him, not the storyline reason. The storyline is that they just started Evolution, hadn't they? So it was the new age was Randy Orton and Batista, and Triple H was the present, and Ric Flair was obviously the past.
Oh, is that what it
So
was?
that's why Ric Flair was obviously Triple H's manager and stuff, yeah.
So I was just wondering what he was doing there, but he seems to be just to
He
be
was
annoying.
always with Triple H at this point, always, and Randy Orton and Batista as well. Ric Flair was also in a tag team with Randy Orton. I think they won the championships at the time, but that was Evolution, wasn't it? And they also had Motorhead theme tune.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it was like this. Evolution.
Evolution. No, I can't do that one. I've not heard it.
Evolution is a mystery.
This is the Motorhead podcast.
Yeah, this is the Crap Motorhead podcast.
The Crap Motorhead impression podcast. We get Steiner coming down to his wee woo music.
Because I hate it. It's just a siren.
Sirens.
It's fucking shit, and I hated whatchamacallit, the other Right to Censor. Oh my god.
Oh, just like that,
awful.
wasn't it?
Yeah, horrible. At least Scott Steiner actually had a bit of music about it though, because Right to Censor was just a siren, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just there to annoy you, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that actually what it was for? I never actually realised that, but yeah, I can understand that. It did work as well. It was horrible. But yeah, he makes his way to the ring and he's by himself. He doesn't have any mates or manager, does he? I don't think. I can't imagine, after him and Rick sort of broke up, I can't imagine he would have anyone alongside him either.
Nah, I love
I can't imagine he's the easiest person to
Get along with.
either in a team.
No, definitely
Just be
not.
ranting at you all day.
I just picked up that he said that he was making his way down to the ring, and it reminds me of this Kevin Owens story that I heard. Do you know that Kevin Owens is like French Canadian?
I didn't know that.
Oh, he's French Canadian. The French was his first language, but he loved wrestling as a kid. So he picked up English through watching wrestling. When he went into one of his English classes at school, they basically said to him, "What is this man doing?" And there was a video on the screen in his class of a man walking, and Kevin Owens put his hand up and went, "He's making his way to the ring." Because obviously that's what they say when the guy's walking down, so he just thought that was what walking was.
He doesn't speak like that, does he? He doesn't they normally have a funny sort of accent, don't they, French Canadians?
Yeah, no, he just speaks like it just sounds like an American guy, doesn't he?
Yeah, obviously where he learned it from wrestling, I suppose.
Earl Hebner, the referee, gives a little bit of a speech at the start of this, basically saying, "I'm not taking any of your crap, I know what you guys are like." Watching this, I just kind of miss the referees having a bit of personality, because you don't really get much of that from the referees these days.
Earl Hebner and Triple H always have beef at this time. They're always pushing each other and shouting at each other.
Definitely.
And I think Triple H hit him with a sledgehammer at one point. Yeah, they're always at each other in this sort of era.
He was kind of just setting off this storyline throughout the match where basically he didn't want to disqualify any of the competitors. He was basically, "I know what you two are like, I'm not going to disqualify you," and it kind of runs through the match, and a lot of it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I guess we'll get to that when we come to it later on. We get a stare down between two competitors. You see that Triple H is just that tiny little bit taller than Steiner, but Steiner looks enormous. Yaz, you said something about Steiner's muscles, didn't you?
Yeah, I just wondered when he flexed it looked like some sort of surgical implant had been put in or something.
It looked like he had a golf ball on the top of his bicep, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think he is just absolutely massive. When you push your bicep to the point of that sort of growth, it's just like, what sort of shape is it going to get to, I suppose? And I don't think it's an implant. I think he's just fucking genetic freak.
You said about his abs as well, didn't you?
Yeah, massive.
So
yeah,
it was
actually
true what you
massive.
said.
Yeah, they're just like... They're like a big, I just like
slab.
Yeah, exactly, like a slab. I couldn't think of the word to describe it there.
He has noted that he's got an outie belly button as well.
Looks
It's
like a
something,
hernia.
something I don't think me and Weston would ever have noticed. So it'd be good to get a new perspective on belly buttons.
Yeah.
The Crap Belly Button podcast.
Then get a few punches, and there was a bit right at the start of this where Steiner is giving chops in the corner, and it went on for so long that I genuinely thought there might have been a malfunction with my laptop. It was just slap, punch in the back, slap, punch in the back, slap, punch in the back. I reckon it went on for about 25 seconds, and I was like, do I keep rewinding this or something? Am I pressing a button that's making it go over and over again?
It's a bit like a Tom and Jerry scene where they just hit each other with the
With the hammers, yeah.
over and over.
It was stupidly long. Why is Triple H not walking away? He could run off. He could do anything.
We then get Steiner putting Triple H into the gorilla press, which is obviously impressive. You like this bit, Weston, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Like Triple H must weigh about 300. He's a big geezer, and for Scott Steiner just to military press him in the air like that is fucking it. He's so strong.
What's more impressive, Steiner doing that to Triple H or Goldberg doing that to Lesnar?
No, I think Goldberg doing it to Lesnar is still more impressive. Definitely, I think Lesnar's heavier, and Goldberg has his arms straighter and more extended.
They fight on the outside for a little bit, and Steiner gets slammed into the ring post a couple of times. We get back in the ring, a couple of punches and some more chops. We then get what I noticed to be the slowest elbow drop that ever happened. Honestly, it was like he just done it in slow motion. Could easily have been, again, the laptop malfunctioning, but he just seemed to fall so slowly. There's no way it could have caused anyone any pain. Steiner puts Triple H into the Boston Crab. Any thoughts on the Boston Crab, Wes?
I like the Boston Crab.
What about this one in particular?
I don't know, it doesn't look right, does it? There's something about it that doesn't look right. I do like a Boston Crab, but I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. I feel like Triple H's legs Scott Steiner didn't pull them enough.
It didn't look like he was in much pain about it, did it?
Yeah, it was just sort of like, I don't know, it wasn't fully extended. The curvature that you want on someone's torso, abdomen to get him in a Boston Crab, it wasn't in properly.
It wasn't quite as shit as the Shawn Michaels sharpshooter from Michael Hogan, but it was still quite poor. Triple H gets off for a rope break, and then Triple H then does the, whatever it is, the face breaker, but what Weston rightly called as the face buster.
The face breaker. Sounds good though, doesn't it?
I know, I should probably have named it that earlier. The face breaker. It's one of Triple H's real 5 moves of doom, isn't it?
Oh yeah, he loves it, doesn't he? It's Triple H has this and Steve Austin has the Lou Thesz press. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? It's a good move as well. You can sort of hit it from a lot of situations. It's a good counter.
Steiner makes it look stupid because he 100% no-sells it.
Just like, of all things in wrestling that you're going to no-sell, it's like, how are you going to no-sell someone smashing your face into their knee? It doesn't make any sense to no-sell it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how hard is it that he doesn't feel the pain of Triple H's knee smashing into his face? I don't know.
We then get the first of so many belly-to-belly overhead suplexes. It's like Steiner is being controlled by a 4-year-old playing their first wrestling game, and he only knows one set of buttons.
He's just pressing circle over and over
exactly.
again. He's doing a default attack or something.
That's exactly it, yeah. That's the circle button, is overhead belly-to-belly suplex. He's just pressing it and pressing it and pressing it. All he can do is that in the D-pad. He just does it over and over.
He does a painful amount of belly-to-belly suplexes overhead, but if you're counting all suplexes, it's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. If you include the superplex and just the ordinary sort of snap suplex, yeah, he does so many fucking... It's just a joke. Because he obviously does the overhead belly-to-belly suplex about 10 times, but he does the side belly-to-belly suplex as well about 5 times, mate. There must be 20 suplexes in this match.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's absolutely outrageous. I mean, sometimes we complain about there not being any moves in a match, but I don't know if I would rather see no moves or the same move over and over and over again.
It's jarring, isn't it? That's the only way to describe it. It's just like, oh, why are you doing that?
It's a little bit like when Lesnar became like the Suplex Machine or Suplex City or whatever when in like 2016. And yeah, I don't mind suplexes. It's just that like when you're just doing the same one over and over, it just gets a bit ridiculous.
I didn't like it. I didn't even like it then when Lesnar was doing it. It's like when you see like Chris Benoit had his triple German suplexes he used to do, or Eddie Guerrero had the three amigos, which is the three snap suplexes. Like like that is good, and the fact that they're stringing them together and holding on is still like, oh, that's athletically impressive. But just doing 8 singular belly to belly suplexes in a row is not good. It's not fun. It's not interesting. It's just boring.
Triple H then gets put into the Steiner recliner, but Flair manages to pull him out of the ring. We then get a shot into the corner, boot to the head of Steiner, and they go back outside, and Steiner gets thrown into the steps, back in the ring, and we get the first of Triple H's neck breakers. This is the other 4-year-old. They're playing against each other, I think. The other 4-year-old who only knows how to do neck breakers. But Triple H, I think, does 3 neck breakers in this match. It's just bloody ridiculous.
It's abnormal for Triple H to be doing stuff like that as well. You said that you think that maybe there was a spot that they were supposed to be doing after the neck breaker, and maybe Scott Steiner forgot what he was doing. Triple H was trying to prompt him.
It felt a little bit like that. Like they'd planned a particular run that they really wanted to get through. But as they were doing it, they were like, okay, first the neck breaker, then there's a belly-to-belly suplex, then we do this, and then we'll go off the top rope. And it's like they've messed up, not the finish, but like the joining part at some point. So like, oh, should we just try and do that run again? And they did it again, and they still seemed to piss it up the wall anyway.
It did feel like there was something missing. Nothing seemed to work properly. You don't know whether it was just fucking shit show and that Triple H was just sort of trying to do what he could to make it half exciting. Because, well, a minute into the match, Scott Steiner is visibly blowing. He's breathing heavily through his mouth.
That takes a really fast pace to it. Like, I don't know if it's harsh to be saying now he's exhausted, because he does do a lot, doesn't he? I mean, it must be tiring doing all them bloody suplexes.
Yeah, of course it is doing that. But he steams into this match at a ridiculous pace. He knows he hasn't competed. He is in the main event, or the co-main event of one of the 4 biggest pay-per-views of the year as a professional athlete. You should be able to wrestle for 18 minutes. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's like, that's what you're fucking paid to do. It's not on. You can't have a WWE wrestler on pay-per-view being so exhausted that they're falling over. If you're a Premier League footballer and you are not fit enough to get through a match, you're not going to be starting, are you?
In a Champions League final.
Exactly. A boxer is not going to be headlining a pay-per-view and he's not fit enough to go 12 rounds.
You could look at it this way, though. If there was never any crap wrestling, you two wouldn't have made this podcast.
We have mentioned that before. We kind of said thank you to Vince Russo, who is the king of crap wrestling, for giving us a platform. So thank you, Scott Steiner and Triple H, for giving us this shit wrestling match that we can talk about.
No, I'm not moaning about the fact that the match is crap, because that's what we're here to talk about, but I'm saying it's not acceptable that Scott Steiner is too unfit to wrestle and match in one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year.
But he's crazy, so it makes it funny.
yeah, exactly that. Yeah, it's good to talk about him, even if the match isn't good. At least we've got to watch all them promos.
Yeah, of course.
Triple H chokes Steiner in the corner, and the referee gets distracted because he takes it right to the 5 count, and then when the referee's distracted, Flair comes and gives him a bit of a choking as well. Then we've got distractions involved as well, and of course Hebner's trying not to disqualify for this. We then get another neck breaker.
He's good at all this bullshit, isn't he, Ric Flair? You know, he's the dirtiest player in the game only, but he is just such a shithead. He's always up to no good.
Yeah.
So mischievous.
Basically then get the same again, we get choking on the rope, and Flair then does it to him as well. So yeah, we've got the second Flair involvement in about 2 minutes, so that starts to get a little bit irritating by this point. And I do love Ric Flair, but I don't know, it gets a bit much even at this stage. Triple H goes to the pedigree, gets broken, and we get a catapult into the corner, and then we get a belly to belly suplex overhead, if you can quite believe it. Another one. DJ Khaled should have done the commentary for this match. We'll get him on the next podcast, don't worry.
I don't know if I want him on. Don't invite him much.
Steiner then looks like he's going to die from exhaustion. He basically does this suplex, stands up, and then he literally kind of collapses onto the floor.
He drops Triple H, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, that's a bit later on.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah, this is when he just kind of falls into the rope.
Yeah, it looks like he stands up and he sort of sways around, breathing heavily, and he just falls backwards. And I don't know whether that was, him like trying to play to the crowd, this is such a tough match, or whether it was him actually fucking falling to the floor out of exhaustion. It could have been either.
But what do doesn't work about it is that he's no-sold every single move so far. So when he suddenly then falls over, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You can't really believe that there's a reason why that's happening.
Yeah, he's just done a move on Triple H as well. I genuinely think he's done it because he just wanted a bit of extra rest.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not. It's at least put him in a chin lock if you're that tired. And then we would have had a chin lock to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
I like a chin lock.
We get a couple of suplexes that then get reversed. We then get another neck breaker. We get a vertical suplex from Triple H. And the whole thing's just starting to get a bit paint by numbers by this sort of stage. So we just keep getting the same thing, followed by the same thing, followed by the same thing. Back body drop, followed by an amazing top rope senton from Scott Steiner. What do you think of this one, Wes?
I don't know what's more impressive, the top rope senton or the Frankensteiner that Triple H hits on him as a counter to that senton.
Followed by a Canadian Destroyer.
Exactly.
Now, we're joking, it's another fucking belly-to-belly suplex. Obviously, after this, they start to boo, the crowd does, because they're just like absolutely sick of this, and completely understandably, because it's just bloody ridiculous.
Do you know what we haven't actually mentioned yet? How fucking uninvested in this match the crowd are. You can actually feel the crowd getting bored throughout the match, and by this point, they've had enough. They are fucking sick of it, and they are audibly making it clear that they're sick of it as well.
Yeah, the awkwardness just gets quite extreme at this stage. We then get Triple H going out of the ring. He leaves for an awful long time. Now, I said to you, West, how long is a count out in a wrestling match? And you said
10. I think even Yasmin, not knowing very much about wrestling at all, probably could have told you that the count out was 10 as well.
Yeah, so count out is 10. Can you have a guess how long Steiner and Triple H are outside of the ring and don't get counted out?
I'd say probably 2 minutes.
Just under that, it's 84 seconds. So they could have been counted out 8.5 times, but they weren't. Hebner follows them out of the ring. Ric Flair's trying to basically pull Triple H outside of the arena, and Ric Flair distracts the ref. Triple H tries to hit Steiner with a belt. Steiner reverses it, hits Triple H with the belt, and then Triple H blades. So we've got now a bleeding Triple H. Tries a couple of times to go into the crowd, which I don't know if it's just this day and age, but I found it really gross. Like, if you're bleeding, that's fair enough, because you've kind of agreed with that other wrestler that yes, we're going to bleed in the match, and if we have contact with each other, then
you've signed up.
Exactly. But then walking through the crowd with all blood all over him just kind of grossed me out a little bit.
You've got to think though, like they say, like in the year 2000, that street fight with Cactus Jack, and fucking how badly they're both bleeding. They're fighting in the crowd, you know, like leaning all over people for them. It's like, it wasn't frowned upon at all back then. It was like, if you look at some of the death matches and stuff like that as well, the old stuff, they're fucking fighting in the crowd. Abdullah the Butcher, they're like bleeding all over the crowd and shit. It's like,
it's disgusting. Flair says he wants the match stopped because of the bleeding.
I want the match stuff. Fucking sanity.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I've got another joke in here about Steiner doing another different move, but no, it's obviously another belly-to-belly suplex. Get a Triple H low blow in the corner, pinfall for 2, and then Triple H gets the sledgehammer from underneath the ring. Hits Steiner with it. Hebner disqualifies Triple H, and thank God it's over.
Mate, I'm sitting here shaking my head. Honestly, that finish is such fucking bullshit. I hate it. I hate that finish with a passion. How, after all that in this match, feels like they're building up to something, for such an anti-climax for him to go under the ring, pull out a sledgehammer and just smack Scott Steiner with it in front of the referee. This is 20 minutes of this crap that you don't even get to see the pedigree to finish the match, the 1, 2, 3. It is bullshit, honestly. I hate it. I hate this finish so much.
I said to you a few times, like, I watched the first third of this match and I think, this isn't that bad, is it? Is it really that bad? And then the second third, and it kind of gets a bit more bullshit. And then you get the final third of they won't count them out. They ignore the low blow. They've got more interruptions from Flair. And then you get sledgehammer. And it's just like, wow, this whole match was just built around one guy trying to get a disqualification, and he finally did. Disqualifications are annoying enough as it is, but when that is literally the story of the match, is that someone is trying to get the disqualification and finally achieving it, I feel like it's such a waste of time.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's not even a good disqualification. It's not even like, I don't know, it's not even like he's trying to do something behind the ref's back and the ref turns around and sees the chair, and like, you know, like the Eddie Guerrero disqualifications were like sneak to win, like good disqualifications. Inventive. Almost. He's fucking just walked out the ring after 20 minutes. Why did he not do this in the first second of the match? If he was going to do this and get disqualified, why have we had to watch 18 minutes to get to this stage? It's awful. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, rubbish. What were your thoughts, Yes?
Shit.
Not going to go back and watch this one again then?
No, definitely one of the most boring ones I've watched, and I definitely have heard and seen bits and bobs from Western over here.
I'm watching this when we get in.
Oh God, no. I'll definitely be falling asleep then.
The crowd, understandably, are just very annoyed and frustrated that this has happened. After the match, Steiner hits Triple H with a sledgehammer, puts Triple H into the camel clutch, otherwise known as the Steiner recliner. Terrible name for a move.
It's just a shit move, I think, the camel clutch as well. It doesn't look very painful. And the thing is that about a submission is that what you're trying to achieve is the person tapping out. Going, no, the tap out is I can't take any more, I surrender. And it's a visible sign. In like jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts, obviously it's a different sort of thing altogether. It's a signal to the, like, this needs to stop. But in professional wrestling, it's almost like the tap out is a gimmick in itself almost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a big thing. It's like the 1, 2, 3 count, or you see this bloke's hand slap in the ring, you know, oh my God. The tap outs are exaggerated as well, aren't they? They hit the ring hard.
Exactly.
And with the camel clutch, you can't see the dude tapping out.
No, that's the thing. That's a really fair point. And Steiner keeps him in this clutch for ages. Then a bunch of referees come and try and basically pull him out of it, and then Bischoff finally says,
"Yeah, Eric Bischoff.
Let him go, let him go," and then he does.
Why has Eric Bischoff come out to the ring?
Honestly, no idea. He's a WCW guy, I guess.
Why would he, how long? It doesn't keep him in the camel clutch for that long that they would have to get the general manager to come out and ask him to take it off. It's just fucking bollocks.
JR then basically says, "Will there ever be a rematch?" And suddenly the crowd got into like a chorus of boos. Obviously they can't hear the hear the commentator, but it feels like they can. They can just hear him saying, "Will there be a rematch?" And you just hear the boo. It's just so frustrated.
And there was a rematch.
There was at No Way Out. I don't know if it
Tune
was
in
any
next
better.
week and you'll hear us talking about the rematch.
God, no. Don't do that to me, Weston.
Was the
please.
rematch even worse?
It's the same.
Oh,
basically.
okay.
Probably a little bit better, actually, to be fair. But
Right.
it's still. But where this is so bad, the bar set so low that the better than this is still fucking terrible.
Right.
So tell us, Wes, what's your reverse Meltzer review for today's match, with 0 being passable and -5 being absolutely crap?
This is not passable. This is fucking awful. Can't give it a -5, I don't think, because it's just too harsh. The first third of this match was almost passable. Although not very good. It's got to be -4, I think. It's that bad, honestly. And the icing on the cake, the polish on the turd, is the fucking finish. It is awful. It is terrible. It's absolute rubbish. And I'd probably, if it had been boom, counter, facebuster, pedigree, 1, 2, 3, and there was a bit of a pop or something at the end of the match, I probably would have given it a -3.
Yeah.
Maybe even a -2, but because of that finish, it's a -4 for me.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
How about you, Yes?
I'd say a -3. I mean, I have nothing else that's crap to base it on. I've not watched
Yeah,
any
you've only
other
ever
crap.
watched good wrestling,
This is the
haven't you?
only one that I've watched that's crap. So yeah, -3. I think -4, -5 is a bit harsh. But then again, I haven't seen any other ones, so I can't really comment.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But I have seen this one, and it wasn't great.
I'm going to go for a -3. I think I'm very much with both of you, actually, in that the first third is passable, and when I first started watching it, I was like, does this really belong on the podcast? And then, of course, it just descends into mayhem and horse shit. And the finish, I would have given it a -2 quite happily, but the finish does really just knocks another mark off. So, yeah, for me, a -3. Before we close, do you have any matches for Scott Steiner that you would recommend, Weston? Because I don't know enough about him necessarily to say. Definitely
I haven't got anything like massive to say about him, but I will say that last WCW Nitro match, the heavyweight championship match against Booker T, is pretty good. Yeah, definitely. It's well worth watching. It's not a classic, but you know, I haven't watched loads of this WCW stuff, but I know that anything in his WWE run at this point is a fucking shit show, so stay well away from it. It doesn't get better than this. Well, it does slightly, but not
much.
Do not watch.
Sure. And do you have a favourite Triple H match?
Oh, you know, he's Triple H in so many good matches. There's year 2000 Street Fight against Cactus Jack.
That would have been mine, yeah.
You know, he's in so many good Hell in a Cell matches. He's in loads. And the first Elimination Chamber match, I love that. I really, really love that. That Street Fight against Shawn Michaels again at the SummerSlam 2002. I could just keep naming them with Triple H, honestly. But if I had to pick one Triple H match, Well, can I say the Elimination Chamber, or is that like cheating because it's 6? The first Elimination Chamber, Survivor Series 02.
So that was Scott Steiner versus Triple H at Royal Rumble 2003. If you've got any comments about this match or any of the other matches that we've talked about, please drop us a comment at crap_wrestling. That's crap_wrestling.
I've got something to add, Matt. We have decided that we're going to do like a schedule, so we're going to keep everyone up to date with what we're bringing out. And, you know, we said that we was going to do this Scott Steiner versus Triple H, so we've done that. And next up, Seth Rollins versus The Fiend at the Hell in a Cell.
I'm so excited to do this one.
Yeah, so that's coming up next.
I wasn't looking forward to doing this one. I have enjoyed recording it, but these are not the guys that I've been, I guess, watched all that much of. It's not an era I've watched all that much of. But we're going into my time now, baby.
Yeah, this is going to be the first of the sort of like modern era that we're going to be watching as well. So I'm quite excited for that. Then after that, we're going to be doing Jerry the King Lawler versus Michael Cole at WrestleMania 27. I haven't actually seen that, I don't think. So I'm going to go and watch that, I think. See how bad it actually is. But what I'm excited to say is we are going to do, in our Brawl for All style that we did, we're going to cover the King of the Ring 1995 tournament after that in our next special coming up. So I am really looking for... Well, I'm not, because it's absolutely shocking, apparently. But apparently it's so bad. But yeah, that's going to be the next special as well. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, definitely. Okay, so again, that was Triple H vs Scott Steiner at Royal Rumble 2003. I've been Matt Burgess.
I've been Weston Hughes.
Yasmin Stubbings.
Follow us on Twitter at crap_wrestling. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more crap wrestling and even more crap podcasting. Mercifully, it's over.
Yeah, mercifully, really, really.
The Badass leader's here! Champion Angel!
He's also suffering from anal bleeding. What?
Is this match still going on? The dog poop! The dog poop! A run forward! And a dog poop! Mercifully, it's over.